Well, happy Friday, everybody. I'm Nick Slavic. I'm the proprietor of the Nick Slavic Painting and Restoration Company. I'm also the host of this show, Ask a Painter Live. It's a weekly live Facebook show where I use my over 2 decades of experience as an entrepreneur and a craftsman to answer any of your questions here. Now, this is a forum for any question, business or coding science or process related. If I don't have the answers, this is the greatest group of professional paint business entrepreneurs and craftspeople ever gathered, and they have all the questions if I don't either. So we're going to get to a bunch of fun stuff today. First of all, thank you to the PDCA, the Painting and Decorating Contractors of America. Not only do they underwrite this show, they share it, they use it as education within their industry, within their website, and then they also give me a contractor question of the week, which this week is, how do I train my apprentices to talk to my clients? And I have a lot of thoughts on that, and as you would expect, I have a process, and we have systems, and all other things like that too. Couple big things. We're going to discuss four 10-hour day work weeks, which we have moved my whole company to, which allows me to be in the office today and catch up on a bunch of stuff. And then we are going to debut my 2019, I call them like super ultra pretentious art films, but it's basically I sit down with an artist friend of mine and we produce a couple-minute video every year about something that I'm dealing with, something that my thoughts, things like that, and we're going to go over that, and I'm actually going to debut it here. If you guys want to follow along and watch it on social media, I have posted it to my social media now. If you go to my Facebook page, the Nick Slavic page, it's right, one of my first posts down here, but we'll play that a little later. So the PDCA sent in a contractor question of the week. How do I get my people, or how do I teach my people to talk to clients? I should also mention, thanks everybody for watching, Zach, Dustin, Jim, everybody. Anything you guys want to talk about today too, just start hammering questions down below and we'll get to them eventually in between some of these topics. So last week I debuted my exterior SOPs, and I know this is a mirror image, but we're gonna have to deal with it for now. This is a fully laminated set. This is how to basically paint the outside of a house. It's a step-by-step guide with beautiful checklists, process checklists, and everything else. One of the things in here is actually this. I have a process for how my crew leaders go about interacting with our clients. So this is actually step one of every single SOP that we do. And if you follow along here, there is, we call it the greeting and the verification. The responsibility is of the crew leader. Each one of my crew leaders is in charge of basically doing a mini project management for every job that we do. So here's the process. Number one, you greet the client. What we don't want to do, technically everybody in my company is a little bit passive aggressive, a little bit introverted. So normally if you leave it to people, they'll just sort of show up at a site and start working. We don't want to be that contractor. So what we'll do is you greet the client, go find the client, shake their hand, you introduce yourself, and you hand them your calling card. Now this is very important too. We get, through Moo, every one of my crew leaders has a calling card, and they have their picture on it, they have their cell phone number on it, and I make name and everything else. I make a point to put on here available Monday through Friday 8 to 4. So I don't want clients texting them at 11 o'clock at night, this and that. Thank you for your trust. This is Aaron, who's on medical leave right now, fixing himself up, and yeah, I just have an extra stack of his cards here, and basically this gets handed to every one of the clients, and the client has a first point of contact. This human is going to be in your house doing a whole bunch of stuff, and any frontline sort of questions you have, this is the person to give it to. Now, my production manager, my client concierge, Holly, also has her own cards. And when she's on site, she hands her card. So then there's a second line, and then the client already has my card from when I did the estimate. So they have 3 frontline points of contact for any job for any person in our business like that. And most contractors are very horrible about communication, and we almost over communicate to a point where we're so vicious about verifying scope and colors and getting every little detail started before we start a project that all the communication has taken place. So basically it's like, hey, you know all that stuff we discussed? We're here to do this for you, And if anything comes up in between, you want to add a bedroom, you want to change a color, at least you have a point of contact there, so they're not also hammering me all the time, because a lot of things can be handled not only at the crew level. If it can't be handled at the crew level, the production manager / client concierge can handle it. If that can't get handled, there's a brick wall between that and me, and they toss it over the brick wall and then I handle it. So like one basement remodel that we're working on now started off as a simple water stain on the ceiling, repaint this room, and turns out they decided to redo the entire basement. So immediately when they got on site, or when we started working on the project, they're like, hey, we want to do all this other stuff. So it got thrown over the brick wall to me. I re-estimated the entire project, threw it back over the brick wall to everybody else, and they took it from there for all that stuff. So let's I'll keep going through my process here. I just want to make sure I get to a bunch of stuff here. Eddie, thanks for watching. Peter Balafast. Peter and I had an awesome conversation. He's from Melbourne, Australia, and he's actually he watches from the future. He's like a day ahead of us down there, so it's kind of funny to talk to somebody down there. Gustavo, thanks for watching. Ryan, happy afternoon to you too. Jason Reynolds, I love how you made your crew leaders their own cards. I think it's important that your clients know who they are and they can talk to when you or Holly aren't on site. That's absolutely. I mean, again, if you guys search through my social media, I made a list of like the 10 or the 13 things that all contractors do horrible. This is roofing guys, plumbing, electrical, whatever else. There's a whole bunch of just flatline, decent human being stuff that a lot of contractors don't do. Just communication is one of them. When somebody wants an estimate, you get it to them very quickly within 24 hours. When they want to do their job, you give them some relative idea of schedule. When you do schedule them, you actually show up at that time. And then you really, my only goal in this whole process, from the point that they ask me for an estimate all the way to the point where they actually write a check for the job, is no surprises. So we do all the upfront work up front, and then that makes for a smooth project the rest of the time. So Mike, thanks for watching. Corey Leister, thanks for watching. Okay, moving on down through the process here. We introduce, they hand them the calling card, and they verify the scope of the project. Now we have an internal sheet called a jump sheet. It's basically a work order, but it's tailored. It's kind of processed through my mind for my people out in the field. I made it color coded. I made it as easy as possible, so when they get on site, it's like a recipe card for how to do this job. And they go through and say, I mean, the basic things: what are we painting, what colors, and what finishes. And then we also have another process in the company, a color verification, where every time a paint gets matched or mixed for us, there's a dried dot on a color card. Digital image gets uploaded to the drive. So I can show you guys. I was just working on some of these here. This is what we call the jump sheet here. It's basically, this is the place that we're working. We have a budget there. The crew leaders input which person did the job, how many hours. And when you come down here, this one was just a standard wall painting job. And when they come down here, there's some walls to do, and the stairs up, stairs down, mudroom, kitchen, living, and then there's a divider. There was one door in the mudroom that they wanted painted as well, along with that mudroom. It was wall color. And then there's some ceiling. They just wanted us to stain kill some spots in the ceiling. So basically, when my people get here, they're looking at this saying, okay, this ended up being the Junkers. Mr. and Mrs. Junker, we're here. I'm Aaron, your crew leader. Here's my card. I'm going to go through this jump sheet with you. I'm here to paint your stairs up. We're going to paint your stairs down. We're going to paint your mudroom. And we're going to paint your living, kitchen, and then the divider. And here's all the colors. It looks like it was all Benjamin Moore Sierra Hills, one color. Here's the finish that we're going to do for this one. There's a quantity of paint needed. And then they'll say, well, it looks like we're also going to be doing the one side of the door in the mudroom. Is that true? Yes. And then we also have master bedroom ceiling. And normally when it's a ceiling spot like that, they'll say, you know, once you show me the spot real quick, I have orders to come here, and it sounds like you just want the spot stain killed and not the ceiling repainted. Is that true? And then they'll say, yeah, that's exactly what we talked about, so just do that. And as soon as that's done, they get to work. Now there's a spot for change orders down here too that they can add from the client. All the while, if you break out the standard operating procedure, this is the per use of the crew leader. The apprentice, while this is happening, is actually setting up our nice little work area somewhere in the house here. So, Francis, hello from Canada. Todd Hill. Verified that coatings and color match the jump sheets and the client wishes. So when they're going through there, they'll say, well, it looks like we're doing a Benjamin Moore color called Sierra Hills, and it's going to be all the areas that we're painting. Is that right? And they'll usually have the paint with them. We get it all delivered to the shop. And then last thing they do is throw out a yard sign. over in the yard there. So we have everything detailed here for the people. Let's get this guy back in here so we don't lose my spot. Now, one of the things, you can make a standard operating procedure, but if nobody follows it and you don't teach it, it doesn't matter. You can print off as many of these fancy things as you want. If your culture of your business doesn't support it and you don't constantly hold people accountable to it, it's not going to get done. So one of the big, in our company, we've never had a problem with interactions with our people. And as a matter of fact, it's a little counterintuitive. The more interaction that the people I employ have with the clients, the better the job goes, because we operate under that, proverbial thing, the decent human being principle, where, my people, none of them have really been painters before. They've all come to this trade because they're just looking for something inspirational, something satisfying, and, we coach them up. We put them through the apprenticeship program. And the benefit of this is that we've never had any problems with interaction. In fact, we just got a call from a builder this last week saying, your people are talking to the clients a lot, or the clients are talking to the people a lot. We'd rather all communication go through the chain of command through the actual builder. And we said, hey, listen, we have no problem with that. We understand that the industry is full of people where you usually don't want subcontractors talking to the clients, but we're friendly, we're likable. If the client comes down and starts asking us questions or wanting to just talk about whatever, I'm not going to tell my people to just stand there like Stonehenge and just stare at these people. It's like, this is who we are. We're happy to comply with your processes. We'll respect your chain of command. But if somebody asks us a question, we are going to answer it with your approval, obviously. So it's interesting that that lets us know we're kind of a unique business in that regard. But when we operate like that, this thing, the only reason we had the SOP there is because everybody's a little bit introverted. They're all going to have good interactions, but this will actually force them to go up to the client, hand them a card, and say, I'm Tina. Tina's watching right now. She's a crew leader of mine. She walks up to somebody and says, I'm Tina, I'm your crew leader, and immediately you form a bond with the client because the client does not expect that. So, all right, if you guys have any other questions about that stuff, you let me know. Chris is watching from Florida. I'm going to, let's talk about 4 10-hour days, which is interesting because for the last 2 weeks, we've sort of moved the entire company to 4 10-hour days a week so that we can provide, if somebody wants overtime, it's there for them Friday, and it doesn't have to cut into evenings and weekends. And I think, especially because we have a business full of millennials, giving people the opportunity to have more time outside of work but still get a full-time paycheck, I think is a very big thing. So I'd love to hear everybody's sort of thoughts on if anybody else has tried a 4-hour work week, working 4 10-hour days. It's also freed up a lot of time. Well, there's Shannon too. Shannon and Tina are actually on a crew together, and they're off today, so they're watching this. Sadly, you should be out hanging out with your family or doing something fun instead of watching this. But this allows me to catch up on a bunch of stuff in my office. It allows them to do things with their friends and their families and things like that, which is interesting because we use Slack for communication in the company. And today, because everybody was off, Slack was so quiet, we weren't really getting any messages. I just posted on there like, wow, interesting to not have Slack. We have probably 100 messages a day that come through it. And then Tina, who's actually watching now, she posted a picture of her and her husband working on a chicken coop together. And what's interestingly enough is her husband works 10-hour days too, 4 days a week. So they actually get Fridays together now, which is an added benefit of all this. So it's lightened the load for client concierge Holly. It lightened the load for me a little bit. It's cut down on overtime a little bit too. I'm happy to give my people overtime, but what we were doing is probably everybody put in 1 or 2 hours a day, every other day here or there, just doing miscellaneous things, and this sort of compacted that time more, and we've cut rid of a little overtime. But we've also been doing revenue production that's very high for the company. We've actually been setting new records in the company for weekly revenue production. So let's start looking at a couple things here. If you guys have any other thoughts about the 4 10-hour days, I'd be very, very curious here. Todd Hill, depends on the job and drive time. Normally we drive an hour each way to get to the job. 10-hour day is a 12-hour day with that time. Yeah, exactly. And I told my people too, like, yes, we sort of operate under a couple different things. Exterior is not a big deal. That's why we're sort of experimenting with this in the summer, because in the past, I've actually ran my entire company on a 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. schedule 5 days a week, and we used to just go at least 50 hours. I'm a morning guy, so I kind of forced everybody to do that. I realize now that not everybody's a morning person. So exteriors, it's a lot easier to do that because we're not inside somebody's house. So we've generally been going about 7 to 5, give or take, and people have been enjoying that. I haven't heard any kickback there. Interiors, usually about 8 to 6, 7 to 5 too if the people let us in early. And you know, we've had probably half the people on interior work, maybe even more, and we haven't had any kickback from clients. And you know, as long as we're getting work done and keeping clean and maintaining the standards, I don't know that there's going to be any kickback on this stuff. I mean, obviously there's going to be some people that don't want us in their house at 7 a.m., but you know, if we go 8 to 6, I'm not opposed to that either, as long as my people are okay with it. So I think it's going to open up. It's a lot of. So what's interesting is that everybody always says, you know, what benefits do you offer people? And right now, if I offered retirement, people would take it if it was free, but they're not really interested in retirement right now. Health insurance would be something that a few people would be interested in, but a lot of people either get it somewhere else or don't need that from me right now. So that would be a huge benefit. So what I'm trying to do is offer tangible, instant benefits that don't lock my company in for something that a lot of people don't use. So number one, this 4 10-hour day thing. How would you like to work 4 days a week, have a 3-day weekend every single day of your life, and still get a 40-hour paycheck? All my crew leaders get private paid for company vehicles. All the gas, all the insurance, and the vehicle is paid for. They basically have a free company car. And there's a lot of people out there who work at some pretty high-level corporate jobs that don't have a free company vehicle. And then basically one of the biggest benefits is, you know, we're all millennials. We all kind of just, you know, like our time outside of the business. People can take time off whenever they want, and it's something that I didn't really know was a benefit until looking back. I didn't realize how few other job sites, spaces, companies offered things like that. So we basically have total flexibility in what we do. And in looking forward to the summer thing, people want summer vacations and things. Most of the time off requested by people is Fridays. So if we do this right, we can still go Monday through Thursday anyway. They don't even need to request time off. They're going to have that Friday off anyway. And in the course of a month, they're going to have 12 days off every month anyway. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And so far, I think people are really, really liking it. So Colby, Chris, Kyle, thanks everybody for watching here. Gustavo, thanks for watching. My wife works at a company with 10-hour, 4 days a week schedule. It's good for her because she can attend our wonder. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I love that stuff. So more time with family is a good thing. So Tyler, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Chad, Daniel Lindquist, another Minnesota. Dustin, sounds very interesting. Do you ever have Monday through Thursday? Does everyone do Monday through Thursday, or keep some people Tuesday through Friday to ensure a full week of coverage? No. So the biggest, I prefer to just go Monday through Thursday and keep everybody on the same page. There's a few people that will work, like there's one crew that's working today. They wanted some overtime and they wanted to kind of button up a big job right before we start something else next Monday. So they're out there working. Client concierge and I will still work on a 5-day week, because this is actually a very productive day for me. I like this. But no, one of the biggest pieces of kickback I get from other contractors is, well, what if you work Monday through Thursday on a house and Friday you're not there? Won't the client be mad at you that you're not there? And if we do our job right, there's really no difference, or should be no difference, in a 40-hour work week spread over 4 days or 5 days. And we just explain to my clients, and this is actually something, if you explain this to people, they actually think of you better for it. So if you say, listen, there's only going to be a painter in your house for 4 days. I know you want to keep pushing forward, but what we do is we take a 5-hour or 5-day work week, we compress it into 4, so that those people in your house can actually have some time with their family during the day on a Friday. And at that point, the clients are always like, oh my God, of course, that's awesome. Most clients don't even have that as a benefit. So when you tell them it's for the reason of, we want to give them more time with friends and family and things like that, everybody's good. So Kyle, how's it going? Dustin, we use Slack as well. Definitely one of the most used channels is our Cat Love channel, dedicated to cat photos and cat related content. You know, that's a really good idea. We do the dumb version of Slack, where all we do is it replaced instant message and iMessage and things like that. So we really don't get fancy. We don't use it special threads for jobs or anything else. We just basically post whatever. So, but I love your Cat Love channel, and Tina, if you're still watching, and Shannon, if you guys are still watching, we should get our own little channel. We won't steal the Cat Love channel, but certainly we can come up with something else. So I like that though. Todd, I have contractors say they want painters on the job Monday through Friday. Yeah. Commonly, it's a kickback, but if you explain to people how many hours you put in and stuff like that, it kind of is what it is. And if they want to hold it against you, you know, it's tough. Builders ask for a lot of irrational things a lot of the times because their primary concern is time, and ours primarily concern is quality, not only with the quality of the product, but the quality of everybody's life that's involved with this stuff, including our own. So let's see. Christopher, thanks for watching. Happy weekend to you too. Yeah, technically it is a weekend, and it was kind of interesting to go up on Slack today and look on there and say, hey, it's a weekend today. It's a 3-day weekend for everybody. Do you think beards are like giving you a thumbs up? Let's see. Gustavo, what kind of texture is that on the wall behind you? That is a 100-year-old poured concrete wall in my historic home. So I have a basement office down here, and I just painted it to clean it up a little bit. But yeah, that's the original. They actually use the boards that they sheathed the roof with on this house. You can still see the concrete stains and the floor sheathing. They used that to form up the concrete. They poured the walls down here. They took the boards off, and then they sheathed the floor and then the roof of the house too. It's pretty cool. So, all right. Well, so I think we're to the point now where, unless we have any other questions there, I wanted to share with you guys something very, very special. And the kindest thing you could do for me is to share this as well, because it comes from the bottom of my heart. It's been my life for 2 years. It's Modern Apprenticeship. 2.5 years ago, my company basically reset. I had 3 craftspeople working for me. They all left in a short period of time. And I said, well, if there is ever time to reinvent whatever we're doing here, let's do it now. And over the course of the last 2.5 years, we've gone from 0 employees to 20 in the height of the summer. We have fully digitized the company. We have made everything is basically a legitimate business now. And everything has been, you know, we put our business through traction. We have a production manager now, all this other stuff. It's been a very, very fulfilling process, and I want to share it with other people. Basically, we've done this by hiring really nobody who knows how to paint, and we put them through our apprenticeship program. And every year I sit down with an artist friend of mine and we create a video of something that I do. I use it to promote this show, myself, my business, and just my love of this craft. And so this year I have it. It's a little late this year. We spent some extra time working on it, but I thought we would just share it all together here. It's based on YouTube. So the main video is there. I've taken it from YouTube. I've shared it to all the social media platforms now. So please, you guys, watch, share, and this is the sort of debut of my video for the year here. So, oh, David Sheridan, do you think they should make another Rambo? I think the movies should have. Oh yes, you know what? It would be interesting to do another Rambo. It would be fun to do. I actually have all the DVDs here. I used to watch them quite a bit when I was in the Army for inspiration at times. And I think they should redo it, but in the millennial version, in the Afghanistan war, and show kind of what a lot of us young veterans used to do in the war there, which is basically try to keep ourselves busy in between waiting periods and look for bootleg booze out in the Iraqi and Afghanistan desert, and basically just try to do our jobs the best we can and hang out with friends. So that would be interesting. But I will debut my my show for you here. You can look up the Ask a Painter page on YouTube here, and it's basically the first video up here. So we'll play this for you now.
In 10 years, we'll look back and realize that this is the time that the change you feel is real. In 10 years, we'll look back and realize that this is the time that the trades change, and it's happening with or without us. The market is strong, demand for our trades are high, and there aren't enough craftspeople to do the work. So we're at a crossroads. Do what we've always done as trades business entrepreneurs with little or no results, or should we try something new? I didn't have a choice. I wish I could find experienced craftspeople for my company. Since I cannot, I've chosen to create a new plan, the decent human being theory. I find happy people looking for a job that they can love. I find them where they're unappreciated, with no connection to the place where they work. They seek satisfaction. I make them a part of my family, then devote my life to giving them the chance to love the craft like I do. In a small way, I've solved the labor crisis for myself and my company. What I don't know is if the solution to the labor lag is the way of the future, or if 5 years from now, it might be our only choice. I realize this vocation is not for everyone. We'll always be on the search for new opportunities, but we're done seeking greener grass over taller fences. we get immense satisfaction from our days, and we get immense satisfaction from giving that opportunity to others, and will not be taking this for granted. We need to look past the argument of college versus the trades. The hands are useless without the brain, and likewise, the brain is ineffective without the hands. Together they become something that no technology or engineering has been able to duplicate. If we want others to be attracted to our craft, we must be examples of happy, optimistic, prosperous trades business entrepreneurs. If we truly love our craft, we'll have a distinct unfair competitive advantage. That love will fuel our early mornings and our late nights, in the heat, in the cold, through the lessons and the triumphs. The trades are the real American dream, an opportunity to create freedom from a bit of grit and the genuine need to solve other people's problems. With nothing more than basic human decency and a sturdy work ethic, you can forge an independent future for yourself and your family. So, the change you feel is real. Are the trades going to be the place where people go when they can't get a real job? Or will the trades be the place where people go when they want a real opportunity or real freedom? It's up to us now. I'm in. Who's with me?
All right, so there you have it. It's on social media. Please, kindest thing you can do is to like it and share it. Let's get it out there. Let's get it to all these other tradespeople. The biggest... Oh, come here. Oh, got little fancy pants here. So right now, the biggest complaint in the trades, and we're talking roofers, plumbers, everybody else, is I can't find good people. Turns out I'm able to find as many good people as I want, and I basically chronicled that solution in a master's class I called the Modern Apprenticeship. And then it's basically my philosophy, everything put down is there, and this is a big call to action to all you other tradespeople, basically saying, you know, yes, it's tough to find good people now. It's because we've been doing it the same way we have been for 40 years. It's time to change the way we approach all trades businesses. This is the kickoff video for all that. This is going to be the year where we do some massive action on that. So let's go through a couple more questions and then get on social media, like this thing, share it, give it to every single trades entrepreneur that you guys know, and let's actually get some real change happening in the trades here. So, all right, thanks for the compliments, everybody. Francis. David Hernandez, yeah, it pumps me up too thinking about that stuff. Todd Hill, do you still teach apprentices how to mix colors using UTC or P? No, we don't. See, the problem is we don't get a lot of call for that stuff. So when something like that comes up, I usually formulate the coding system and then teach them that. But it's not something I rely heavily on because we don't get a call for it. All right, so thanks everybody. Thank you to the PDCA, the Painting and Decorating Contractors of America. I'm sure that video will pass through their channels as well. I'll actually be down there in a couple weeks filming my master's class Modern Apprenticeship. I want to get this thing out there to help other trades entrepreneurs. So we're going to go down there and we're going to put the definitive form of that on the internet somewhere, somehow, and yet to be decided, but I think it's something that people can actually act on and change their businesses. So all right, everybody, thank you guys so much for following, watching, and sharing this show. The kindest thing you can do, again, is to share this, share that video, get it out there. This has been my life for the last 2.5 years. If it interests you guys, pass it along to other like-minded people like that. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon, and have a good weekend.